This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Introduction. After more than a half-century in showbiz, I am bursting at the seams with juicy anecdotes. The advent of social media gave me a platform to download the lowdown for my followers, whom I affectionately refer to as sandwiches. Sandwiches? What the hell does that mean? For anyone who might be late to the party, followers of celebrities all have nicknames, like Lady Gaga's Little Monsters, the Grateful Dead's Deadheads, or Barry Manilow's Fanilows. On Wikipedia, there's a list of 320 more. My favorite? Benedict Cumberbatch's Cumberbitches. In 2020, one of my Facebook friends, Marcus Elf, suggested that I needed to have a nickname for my followers. So, I launched a contest to find the cleverest sobriquet. Mike Caffey came up with Sandwiches, spelled W-I-T-C-H-E-S, because of my horror association, which cracked me up. Genius! The perfect parody for my legend-in-my-own-mind celeb status. So, I not only adopted the name Sandwiches for my followers, I also named my publishing imprint Knuckle Sandwich Books, the world domination media conglomerate responsible for such game-changing mega bestsellers as Sam's Toilet Paper Caper, Orb-gasm, an erotic pulp sci-fi satiricon, and now I was a teenage monster hunter. The more I posted about my madcap life, though, the more requests I got from sandwiches imploring me to write a memoir. So I started gathering these stories into a file that I figured would someday form the basis of a star-studded tell-all. I learned very early that I could meet my idols if I had a legitimate reason to do so. When I was just a teenager, I started my own horror movie fanzine, Bizarre, and began making requests for interviews, which, to my amazement, were granted more often than not. A half-century later, people are still talking about it. In 2022, Tim Lucas, longtime editor-publisher of Video Watchdog, commented on social media, quote, "Bizarre was the best fan publication of its time," unquote. A sizable number of sandwiches have asked me to reprint all my fanzines in full, but I have nixed that idea because I am way too embarrassed by the sophomoric reviews I wrote back then. If dedicated Uber sandwiches want to search the globe for rare back issues, have at it. But I'm not going to proliferate those portions best forgotten. The interviews themselves, however, really are quite fascinating time capsules. In most cases, I was interviewing horror movie royalty when they were still in the thick of their careers, some at the very pinnacle of their popularity. Details were still fresh in their memories. Anecdotes had not been overly honed, embellished, and homogenized from years of repetition. These interrogations were often raw, unfiltered, and insightful. I realized that if I wrote a traditional memoir of my entire life and career, this treasure trove of conversations would have to be breezed over in a page or two of highlights. They were far too important for that. Additionally, I am astounded by and quite proud of the gumption I had as a kid. So much happened during my youth, it would be impossible to distill my formative years into a brief early chapter of an all-encompassing autobiography. Then it hit me. What I really needed to do was to divide my life into a series of books that would allow me the luxury of preserving all sorts of interesting details that would otherwise have to be condensed or left on the editing room floor.